Hello again, everyone, and welcome into Bailey's Best on this Wednesday night. And hopefully you're watching after that. Brian Bailey with Zach Kaplan as we talk anything and everything sports. And obviously right now the big topic is the NCAA basketball tournament. March Madness is here. You can see most of the action on WNCT or part of the CBS tree of True TV, TBS, TNT. Just a great time of the year. And really, you think about it, it's something. It's a part of Americana, isn't it?
It's the two best sports days of the year, for me anyway. Some people would put opening day for Major League Baseball up there. I think that's in the conversation. That's next week. And, I think they're the two most fun days because everyone is truly sitting around watching the games. I mean, the productivity in corporate America is, down whatever percent.
It's always down here.
I mean, yeah, it's always down here for sure, but it is
the big TV on and all the other monitors. Yeah.
I loved a couple of years ago when you tweeted the picture of you sitting at your desk. You had the games on the three screens, and you said this job can be pretty hard sometimes.
Yeah, it can be.
I'm going to find that picture. I'm going to put it right here. And I always think of that when I think of March Madness. But yeah, these are the two best sports days of the year for me.
And really, the two best sports days of the year, Thursday, Friday, are because there's so many games, and especially if you get one of those years where you get a barn burner here and a last-second shot there, and those years have happened.
Yeah, that's the best. It's always good when you have two or three games in each window of the TV TV wise that are just you're just glued into, and hopefully we get that this year. The Thursday afternoon slate looks really good. Thursday night maybe a couple blowouts in there, but it's always the games you don't expect that, when they get good, that's when a tournament is really at its best.
But the tournament can break your heart too, because I remember as a kid, I was a Virginia Cavalier fan back in 1976 when Wally Walker led the Cavaliers to their first ever ACC tournament. This was the 50th anniversary of that. Wally Walker was in Charlotte for the little celebration for Virginia. But then Virginia as a number one seed taking on Maryland, Baltimore County. And I'll never forget, we were up in the bonus room watching it in my man cave, and Melissa was with me. That may be the last time she ever watched the game with me, because at halftime, she said, I can't stand it, because I was yelling and screaming. I couldn't believe how badly Virginia was playing in UMBC. And so a 16 beats a 1 for the first time ever, and not just it wasn't a buzzer beater. It wasn't a 3 or 4 point game. It was an absolute blowout. And
wire to wire, yeah.
So you had to live with that. But then 365 days later, you come up and Virginia win. And let me tell you something. The basketball gods were with Virginia in that tournament and I'll admit it, as a fan, that was one 100%. Of the luckiest runs that I've ever seen. I mean, they got lucky to win here and lucky to win there. But I guess
I always think about that game with Purdue.
Yeah, the game with Purdue
fouled at the end.
And then the one with when what was it? The little guard that made that great pass, K.A. Clark, and then the next year he threw one away.
Then he made the best and worst pass in Virginia basketball.
And Ryan Odom, who is the coach of Virginia now and done a great job with the Cavaliers this year, he was a coach at UMBC back when they beat Virginia. So it's fun to watch, but it can break your heart in a heartbeat. And speaking of broken hearts, we saw North Carolina State go down last night in the final seconds.
Yeah, how about that? And the coach for Texas is basically in the paint as the shot went in, and Sean Miller absolutely gave it to him afterwards.
He did.
He was ripping him, and that's a heartbreaking loss for State. Kind of interesting, Will Wade's comments afterwards, just that this will be the low point of the Will Wade era. He's talked a big game since his first press conference.
He certainly has.
But to say that, someone's asking, what will you remember about this team? You always think about the seniors and whatever. It's like, no, this will be the low point. This will be the worst we are while I'm here. So
you think about NC State basketball. He said all year that they just weren't very big, and when they played Virginia 3 times, Virginia just pounded them with those 2 7-footers, and it wasn't even a contest 3 different times. And I always say it's hard to beat a team 3 times. A lot of folks say that that's not true. I think it is true. But Virginia manhandled North Carolina State 3 times, and then State played a Texas team that had some length, had some bulk inside, and it came back to bite them at the end.
It did, and that'll be probably one of the biggest things they look at in the offseason is just trying to upgrade size-wise. And there was a lot of games that just weren't in it this year. you could kind of see it early on where they just like weren't playing, with a certain edge and attitude to them. Defensively, they were atrocious in a lot of non-conference, and we'll see what they do in the offseason. But yeah, we'll wait. Already talking a big game for next year.
Before we start talking about our brackets, we want to remind you can play the Brian Bailey Basketball Bracket Challenge. And I don't know who came up with
Try
that
saying
name.
that 5 times fast.
Exactly. I'm not sure who came up with that name, but that's what they told me to call it.
I fumbled it the other night.
You can go to WNCT.com. I'm sure there's a link there somewhere, or you can call the station. But I'm not even sure what the prize is, but we're going to have all of our brackets up there. And
I think it should be an afternoon
fun.
of tiebreakers with you.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I think that's what it should be.
And that may be coming up soon, an afternoon at tiebreakers with me, because I'm looking forward to the tournament. We had a chance to cover the ACC last week. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a bit. You've had a chance to go to NCAA tournaments in the past. What's the thing you remember most about just going to a tournament like that?
Yeah, it was great getting to go to those the last 2 years. And, I think the thing you enjoyed the most is the different fan bases that are there. You start with 8, and, like when upsets are starting up, I mean, the whole building, like, in that building, in Greenville tomorrow, as we tape this on Wednesday,
right.
If Duke goes down early, I mean, you got Ohio State fans there, you got Carolina fans, you got, everyone's gonna be just egging them on, and it's just when the building flips. Because sometimes it's blowouts, it's just quiet, it's a true neutral site, whatever. But when a game is good, it's right down to the wire, and that's I remember last year UConn, Florida, in Raleigh. You had the defending national champions against the eventual national champions, and the place is on fire for that game. And it's Hurley and Golden going back and forth. They're two of the hotter heads in the sport as far as getting on other people's nerves, and they were getting they were certainly getting into it for sure.
Yeah, I tell you what, great time of the year. We're going to go over our brackets coming up in just a bit. Once again, don't forget the Brian Bailey Basketball Bracket Challenge. Get your entries in by, I think it's Thursday at noon. But
12:15 is the first. There's TCU and Ohio State.
12:15 is the first tip. We'll take a break. Back with more on Bailey's Best for you right after this. All right, welcome back to Bailey's Best. Brian Bailey with Zach Kaplan. Let's look at the brackets and let's see how we do as far as our Final Fours go. Do you have any big upsets early on? And, here's the thing about filling out a bracket. If you take one of those 12-5 matchups and you take the 12, which usually a 12 does beat a 5 somewhere in the tournament, but if you take the wrong one, then you've screwed up two sides of your bracket. And those upsets, what I've learned through the years, you can't go all chalk, but you have to be careful about your upsets because, if you pick some crazy school to go to the Sweet 16, if it works out, it's great, but the points aren't good enough, big enough, to matter. What matters are your Final Four picks, your Final 2, your national champion, that kind of thing.
Getting those right is the difference.
Right.
Of those bracket pools.
Yeah.
I keep going back and forth on it, but last year we had a very chalky bracket. We had all 4 1 seeds get to the Final Four for the first time since 2008. And this year, you think about the way the Duke, I guess, just speaking generally about the bracket here, you think the way Duke, Michigan, and Arizona have played all year, it's just hard to see. And Arizona's the one to me that I think could get caught early, but it's hard to see where they go down because they've just been so much better than everyone in the sport all year.
In that first round, I did pick an 11-6 matchup. I picked South Florida to beat Louisville.
I'm with you.
I think Louisville's kind of been inconsistent. USF's hot.
Mikael Brown not playing for the Cardinals.
Yeah, and that's a big one too. And he can shoot it. He can absolutely shoot it. So that's one of the upsets I picked.
And did you see now Brian Hodgson's dad, the South Florida coach, he has dementia. He lives in Western New York, has not been able to travel to Tampa to see him coach all year. And he's finally going to get to go to this game. So if you need any more motivation to root for South Florida.
I also took VCU over North Carolina. I think that might be a little bit of a reach, although I think the Heels, they were kind of reeling in the ACC tournament a little bit, and but they could turn it around. Obviously, without Caleb Wilson, they're a different team.
They look a lot like last year's team when they don't have Caleb Wilson out there, and I think that's just the reality of it. As we're sitting here, I will add Duke coach Sean Shire says Patrick Gamba unlikely to play tomorrow against Siena, and that the big man is, quote, not quite there as he works his way to a return. So consider that with Duke. Duke
but
as well.
he'll be back, I think, by next weekend.
I think when it matters, he'll be back.
Yeah, I think he'll be back, and they'll need his body. But I was just surprised at the ACC tournament that Duke was able to play as well as they were with 7 basic bodies out there. But I thought Virginia played their tails off in the championship game.
They were incredible,
and still lost by 4. And that game could have gone either way. It didn't go Virginia's way, but it was a great game. But Duke's really, really good.
And I'll put the picture here, but I sent it to you and me. I almost got ran into by Dallin Hall there on the baseline. You got to be careful when you're courtside like that, whether you're sitting there or shooting there.
All right, you brought it up. I was going to bring it up in the next segment, but we'll go ahead and talk about that now. Then we'll go over our final 4 picks in the next segment.
All right.
So give us the situation. Now, first of all, do you have the video of that particular play, or did you turn your camera off?
I don't think I was shooting during that. I think
Really? You're on the floor. I'm just kidding.
No, I need to go find it. I might still have it, but I gotta dig for it and see.
I mean, I think that would be hilarious. What happened was Dallin Hall for Virginia guard. Was that the championship game?
It's got to be. It was the championship game.
So he comes flying through and dives out of bounds and dives right on. Who was sitting beside you? Do you remember?
My buddy Nick from Duke.
Okay, so Nick from Duke is sitting next to you, and he goes right between you guys. And the look on your face, and we're showing the picture now, so you can see the look.
I'm bewildered. I was just trying to prevent him from, well, one, the camera's more expensive than I am, so I got to protect the camera, is what I'm thinking as I'm sitting there. And I'm also trying to save the cheerleaders right behind me.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
so
Zach's trying to save the cheerleaders.
yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, it's just the right thing to do.
That's the same look he had on his face when he got his last assignment back in college.
Yeah, that's probably it. Thankfully it was COVID at the end, so they gave us all A's because they felt so bad for us.
Oh man, but that was and we've all been there that's been in the business. You've been on the baseline shooting, and somebody comes at you.
My friend Todd Gibson got ran into by Jaron Stevenson.
Oh my
from Carolina
gosh,
the other week.
His video, his picture.
He looked like he was in a boxing match.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
I mean that was absolutely.
We may have to put that one here too.
I think you should. Show Gibby right there, our good friend who started at WNCT Channel 9, now at CBS 17. But yeah, he got busted up pretty. He got busted up pretty bad. You were unscathed.
I was fine.
You're a stud, an absolute stud.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
I mean, you just beat it all, and you just were able to bounce back. Did anybody come over to you, like the medical crew or anything?
No, because I was good. Like if I had been
because
down,
you're expendable.
I could have. Yeah, that too. Definitely expendable. I could have really sold it, but I didn't.
Yeah, that's good stuff. But that was, and I didn't even know what happened. I think I remember when I was watching the game, because I came back to Greenville after Kinston won in the state championship. We'll talk more about the Vikings and congratulate Perry Tyndall and company. But I came back that night. You went back to the Coliseum, back to Charlotte, and then you were there for the second game that night. Then you stayed for the championship. Did a great job, by the way.
Thank you.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was a blast, and the look on your face. I mean, they're talking about around town making T-shirts.
Oh,
with that look on your face.
It's a really ugly face.
Yeah, it'll scare you. They may use it at Halloween.
Yeah,
but now it was scary for sure. All right, we're talking NCAA tournament and all things sports. This is Bailey's Best. We'll take a break right now. Back with more for you. We'll go over our final 4 picks next. All right, welcome back to Bailey's Best. Brian Bailey, Zach Kaplan. Let's go over our final 4 picks now as you look at the different regionals and what you see. What do you see as far as the top seeds, and what do you see in upset?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about a couple upsets. I'll just go over quickly. I'm with you on South Florida. I like them to beat Louisville. I like VCU to beat Carolina. The region I'm kind of going out on a limb on is the Midwest region. That's Michigan's region. I got Akron beating Texas Tech, and I got Hofstra beating Alabama, and I'm also going to add Santa Clara beating Kentucky. I think that's the region of chaos.
I did take Santa Clara over Kentucky. I didn't take the other two.
Yeah, Kentucky they haven't sold me all year. Alabama has a starting guard who got caught with a pound of marijuana. I don't know if you saw that, BB. I mean, yeah. And then, people are into that. Now, most people don't have pounds of the stuff. And so he's not available for Alabama in the tournament. So I think
he should be.
I think that's a distraction. Texas Tech without JT Toppin. I don't believe in them. I'm going with the Zips. As far as down the road, I'll just cut to the chase of my final 4. I'm keeping it simple. I talked about
ones all the way across.
And Houston.
I took Houston.
I got Duke, Houston, Arizona, and Michigan as my Final Four.
I took Duke, Houston, Arizona, and Virginia. Put the Cavs in there.
I have Michigan beating Virginia in the Elite Eight.
Well, the reason I put Virginia there, obviously it's a heart pick, not a head pick. I think Michigan will beat Virginia if they do, play one another. Iowa State probably will beat Virginia. That's a matchup that I'm worried about. But I just figured if I took Michigan or Iowa State or something like that, and Virginia did make a run, I don't think they'll win the national championship. But I do think that the Cavaliers proved that they can play with anybody the way they played Duke the second time. Now I went to Cameron Indoor the first time they played, and Duke manhandled them, and I was shocked that Duke just beat them like they did, because Virginia's a better team than that. Of course, you're playing at Cameron Indoor.
Ritter gets in foul trouble in the first 5 minutes.
That's one thing I'm worried about with Virginia. He hasn't played well in 2 big games. He didn't play well against Duke and Cameron. He didn't play well in the championship game. They still only lost 74-70, but he was not a factor in either game.
No, he was quiet. It makes other guys did step up around him, obviously, to keep EVA in that game, not the one in Cameron. But I think their size is really tough to match up against for just about everybody.
Footers, yeah.
And DeRitter's tall. Onyenso and Grunlow are both big. Like they are a word I can't say. They're tough to play against. Let's say that.
All right, you got your Final Four now. Who have you got in the championship game?
I got Duke and I got Michigan. A little rematch from back in the day.
Duke and Arizona. That's who I've got.
Rematch from 2001.
Yeah.
2001 rematch.
Who you got winning it all? Duke?
I think we agree on Duke, don't we?
Yeah, we do agree. I think they still have some question marks with if they get beat down, they can't afford another injury, that kind of thing. But still, I think Duke's been the best basketball team all year, and you hate to go in there and take the top overall seed, but that's what you're looking at.
It's square, I know it's a boring pick, but when you look at the teams that win national championships, like it's not often like a lower seed. It's not like you have chaos in the beginning. I mean, I have 3 or 4 double-digit seeds in the Sweet 16, but after you get to that round, I just think it's hard, to sustain that momentum for another 2 games. The other thing with Houston, Brian, is that if they make the Sweet 16, they're playing at home that weekend.
Right.
They're at the Toyota Center. I think that's a huge advantage for the Cougars. That's why I like them over Florida. And then the lone 1 seed get kept out of the Final Four.
Is there another team that you didn't put in your Final Four that's kind of a sleeper that could make it, like a Purdue maybe, or a looking down? Florida could be there.
I'm out on Purdue. I'm not a big Purdue guy. Florida, obviously a team that should be mentioned. Santa Clara, I mean, I think they're gonna give Virginia a scare in the Sweet 16. I do have Virginia beating them, but I have Santa Clara in the Sweet 16. Hofstra, Mizzou are both double-digit seeds that I like to make runs, and St. John's is a team that could beat Duke, but I just think I wonder how much is left in the tank after they really put everything out there in the Big East tournament. St. John's, UConn in the Elite Eight would be something
and that's
spectacular.
A tough bracket. You could see Duke, St. John's, Michigan State, UConn in the Final Four of that bracket in the East, and that would be a great doubleheader to go see up in D.C. Man, that's some good teams. But St. John's would have to get by Kansas, and Kansas is like heck, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You don't know what you're going to get with Kansas.
Oh, they really are. And I'm not a Darren Peterson guy. Other people might be, but I just. I think he's had issues staying in all year, and I think it's going to keep them from making a tournament run.
All right, got to take one final break. Back with more to wrap things up on Bailey's Best for you after this. All right, welcome back as we wrap up this edition of Bailey's Best. Let's talk high school basketball because Pamlico's girls, they had a rough go of things in the championship game. Still, they have a lot to be proud of. Made it all the way to the state finals. Kinston's Vikings, their 12th state championship in school history. Perry Tyndall did a great job with that team. They were fun to cover all year, weren't they?
They were. And, with Pamlico, it was going to be tough because, they actually had a decent showing of people. They probably had about 300-400 fans from, Pamlico County, which is not obviously, we only got about 12,000 people in the entire county. They had 300 to 400. Cherokee had 3,000 to 4,000.
Wow.
I mean, it was a true road atmosphere. I had one person tell me on the baseline that the people that weren't at the game from Cherokee were watching at the movie theater in town. I mean, that's a true, like, everybody there is watching that team. They grow up with them.
They lock the Western Auto and they go to the movie theater.
The last one, last one to leave, turn out the lights in town. I mean, just an unbelievable showing from them fan-wise and their team. But, you know, with this Kinston team, I think what made it more special for Perry is, like, when they've won their state titles, they've usually dominated the whole year. Yeah. When they had Stackhouse, when they had Ingram, when they had Reggie Bullock, like, they've had one of, or maybe the best player in the state of North Carolina.
They've had stars.
They've had stars, like,
and
true
this team
stars.
didn't have a true star. They had great players, but I don't think they had a true star like that. Do you?
No, and that's what made it special. You know, they got great performances from everybody in the championship. Keyshawn Herring was outstanding. Jamarion Washington, Brendan Chambers is going to play football at Marshall next year. So it's not even his number one sport, but he still got a double-double, 10 and 13 in the championship. And, you know, this team had their lumps, lost twice to Farmville Central, once in, like, heartbreaking fashion at the Jaguar Den. The second one in Kinston, where they just did not play well. I think they were psyched out, to be honest. Final game of the regular season, there were fights afterwards of that game, but they, you know, they didn't play well.
I think you started one of those.
No, I'd stay out of. I try to stay out of them, except when Dallin Hall runs into me. But you know, it's the fact that they had to struggle on the way there, I think, makes it that much more satisfying when you do reach the mountaintop. So a heck of a run for them, and you know, felt like they were going to be one of the best teams in the area all year, and they certainly were.
And I really like the fact that Greenville had the Eastern Regional Finals. That was so much fun. Oh, yeah. Those crowds. Washington played so well and lost to Reidsville, but still played so well, especially early in that game. The crowds were just great. And so, you know, because last year they went to the Final Four format, and I think they had it, maybe they did it before.
Winston last year.
All in Winston-Salem, so you had to go back and forth Winston-Salem. This time, you know, you get a chance, depending on how many teams we get in the state finals, and with 8 classifications, 16 total teams with boys and girls, you know, there's a chance we're going to have 3, 4, 5, 6 teams. This year we only had 2, Pamlico and Kinston. We all had some fringe teams as well, but with the 8 classifications, it was, you know, I just thought it turned out really, really good having the Eastern Finals in Greenville. And then we went to our favorite barbecue place in Winston-Salem for your birthday.
Yes.
Didn't we? Yeah.
Thank you for the birthday lunch.
You should show that picture.
I do have the picture of the barbecue. We'll put it up here.
Show that, man.
I mean, I've never had that much hush puppy, that many hush puppies. Sorry,
I'm telling you, keep eating like that, you won't see 29. I'm just kidding.
No, I won't.
We had a good time celebrating. How many birthdays is 28, right?
Oh, yeah, I turned 28. 28. It was last Friday the 13th.
Yeah, man.
It's some good barbecue now.
Yeah, and Mom dropped you as a baby when you were 6 months?
Yes, later part of 98, I think was when that happened.
Man, you one of the best. You did a great job.
Here, so
Great job at the ACC tournament and at the high school basketball. You hustled your butt off the whole time, and everybody in Eastern North Carolina should salute this young man because he did an absolute great job
right here
the entire way. So we certainly enjoyed that coverage, working with them, and that's our show for this Bailey's Best. We will see you back here next week.